welcome into this edition of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Tony Cepeda. I am joined again by my co-host Nick Barr. Nick, how you doing today?
Hey, morale is better.
Yes.
I guess that's the beauty of getting screwed over with these back-to-backs is a quick turnaround if we get a win, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you mentioned morale. I'm going to do a quick little monologue here, and then we'll get into all, the games. And we also, Nick and I looked at the upcoming schedule for both us and the Raptors, and it's a doozy, folks. I really didn't, we'll get into all that at the end. So stick around because sure we'll have a good discussion on that. But my first little monologue is I was very low after that next game. I was like, that's it. Let's cancel the season. It's over. Honestly, the third quarter of this game against the Wizards, I was like, that's it. It's just, we should forfeit the playoffs. Everyone just get healthy, figure it out next year. It's just over. But after watching DeMar go, he went 12 of 15 in the second half, just absolutely came back with a man on fire, bat out of hell, as I used on the Twitter world earlier. I have decided I am not going to live in reality, and I'm going to live in this absurd fantasy that the Bulls are fixed and we're just good to go because we beat the Wizards. Will Smith slapped Chris Rock in the face earlier this year. Nothing is real anymore. Nothing is real. It doesn't matter. We do not live in a sane society no longer. So I've decided I'm just going to crown the Bulls NBA champions of the 2022 season. And Lori Lightfoot, get the Teamsters going for the for the championship parade down from the United Center to, I don't know if they do it to Soldier Field or whatever. I haven't seen one in my lifetime, so we'll see what that's going to be. But yeah, that's kind of the little state of the union in my universe. Nick, if you have probably more rational takes, you can go ahead at any time.
No, I'm with you, man. Hey, listen, whatever it takes to navigate this weird zeitgeist that we live in, Tony. I think I'd rather choose optimism. Okay, because tried the other route, doesn't work. Optimism, that's the way to go. Now let's get in a little bit more specific basketball takes. But Tony, that's what the people needed, truly. But just in case you need a little bit more, I have a few thoughts. Similarly, Tony, I'll avoid. I mean, I could basically just retweet everything you just said, and then just add a few other things. So, okay. I realized that it's probably not sustainable to be a completely just ISO team. I think of course you could probably back that up with a few facts to dispute that. It just feels like when you're talking about playoffs, which we are coming up here, no matter if we have two all-stars or if we don't, we do have two all-stars. But I think just completely relying on them to hit a tough shot on every single possession is probably not sustainable. So that's my groundbreaking, earth-shattering observation. And obviously, a lot of that just, it's missing without Lonzo. He does such a good job of not only pushing the ball in transition, but really getting it flowing on offense as well. I mean, he's not a shoot-first guy. But, Tony, the facts of the matter is we can't be blaming all this on not having Lonzo anymore. Yes. The Wizards didn't have Bradley Beal. We barely beat them. And that's just one small example. Everyone's dealing with injuries. I don't need to preach about that. But when the base of our offense is just Zach or DeMar figured out, it's probably not going to take us past the first round. I think we can all agree on that. So, and then a few other things. So Patrick Williams, obviously, since we last recorded, I think when we last recorded, he was just returning. Now, obviously, we've seen him. Billy's been limiting his minutes quite a bit. I don't think he's loving how much, he's, how do I put this nicely? He's not necessarily flowing into the game, when he's in there. So we changed up the starting lineup, put Io back in there. That seemed to be good. Now, I think the biggest thing, though, about this one, Tony, was just that when DeRozan's seeing doubles, he was making fantastic passes to get out of those. We finally assisted as a team. I mean, Tony and I were taking a look, like we only had 16 turnovers as a team against the Knicks. Assists, I'm sorry. We had a lot of turnovers too. But this game, we had 10 more assists as a team. We had 26. And that's like more about where we were, when we did have Lonzo, I mean, of course, when we had Lonzo, we were seeing games where we had like 30 plus assists, but that is more where we need to be, especially if we're going to be so reliant, on these tremendous players like DeMar and Zach. So, and then my final point, Tony, is that we kept Vooch in the game. Mm-hmm. And that turned out that's a good thing for our team. Yeah. Again, we have a big three. We forget, and I know it's easy to forget sometimes. Vooch struggles, and I get that. Some of those early shot clock threes that Tony and I aren't huge fans of. But when he keeps himself in the game and we keep him in the game, I think it's a two-way street. I see people on Twitter kind of either blaming him or blaming the coaching staff. It's definitely a mixture of both. You got to stay in the flow of the game, but we also got to get you some touches, even if it's just passing the ball, just so you feel like you're a part of it. That's the only way to get rhythm. So seeing Vooch a part of our team for the entire game, turns out that's a good thing. So let's keep doing that. And then my final thing is, DeMar, 12 for 15 in the second half, you said, Tony. Mm-hmm. Unbelievable. And you could see how much difficult his shots are getting to. He already takes really hard shots, but now that guys are finally trying to figure him out, kind of close out on him, even when he spins back.
10 for 15. I'm an idiot. I was going to say, there's no way 15. 12 for 15.
Yeah,
15.
well,
my apologies.
Whatever. Well, we'll take it. We'll take it. And there were some tough ones though, man. And you can tell like people are starting to figure out how to defend it, but DeMar still finds a way to buy a bucket. It's awesome to watch. But those are my takeaways. Big deep breath. A lot of that I wrote down after the Knicks game, so I'm feeling better about some of it, but I still think the sentiment is true and rings clear that we can't just play iso ball. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't know if you felt the same way. It sounds like you may have. I think it was maybe midway through the third quarter. And they were blowing us out, the Wizards game. They were blowing us out, but it was like, why are we just trading buckets just every possession with this team? Mm-hmm. And I was just in a bad mood. If you go down the official JAYC Twitter account, you can see like where my negativity finally flips to optimism, to positivity. But I was just like, we're doing this again. There's just a stank on like the team just for, the first few quarters. And again, it's the Wizards who are 11 games under 500 now. Not exactly a phenomenal win. I wouldn't, say this, we're going to, after getting blown out by the Bucks, what was it last week, losing to the Knicks. Yeah. Beating the Wizards isn't exactly a crowning achievement. That's what I took
care of business. Just took care of business. That's all it is.
And so my final thing here will be just to piggyback on your Vooch comments. I agree completely. He had 15 in the first quarter, 20 in the first half. And it just looked, you're so right about, I don't know if Billy Donovan behind the scenes is like, hey, between the 6-minute mark in the first quarter and the 7-minute mark in the third quarter, do not go in the paint. And for most games, it's like, if you go in the paint, we're trading you. That's what it seems like sometimes. And I can't imagine that's what he's doing, but I assume there also is, when the Bulls are struggling, Vooch is a good shooter. It's, hey, look for your shot, get out, try to just do what you can to help the team. But I like, we've said it since I think the first, episode of the season, I like to see his feet in the paint. We had 60 points in the paint, which is pretty good. That's what you like to see. That was, I think, a huge reason why we won tonight.
And it not only shows, sorry to interrupt, it not only shows that Vooch had a lasting impact in this one, didn't just disappear after the first quarter, like you said. But it also shows that it tells you that we were getting easier shots instead of just banking on these jump shots, right? Because it shows you we were in the paint at some point. Whether that means it was a post up, probably not. If it was a post up, maybe it was Vooch. Yeah. But other than that, we're seeing Javonte Green getting layups, dunks, all that. So that's when the ball's flowing like it should, when Javonte Green's getting buckets.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And that actually leads us into our ad for today's episode. So before we get into our final topic, which is a breakdown of the games to come and just kind of the crazy schedule that both us and the Raptors have, it honestly, I truly didn't realize it until we started talking about it pre-show. Before we get into that, we'd like to thank our sponsor, The Bench Mob. The Bench Mob was started in 2010 and has reemerged in 2021 to represent the best bench players in the league. I still stand by that. To get your Bench Mob merch, head over to the link in our description. Use code J20 JAY20 for 20% off your order. So our final topic is just a little look ahead for what we got coming the rest of the season. We have 6 games left. The Raptors have 7. That's bad. I will say, Nick and I, we came to that really high level analytical determination. Bad. That's what that is, because they have a game in hand. I think that's how that phrase is used. So we are currently a half game ahead of them because we won. They play tomorrow. So obviously, if they win, we don't play tomorrow, then we're tied, but we have the tiebreaker, so we're 1 ahead of them in the standings. Right. Technically, not wins wise, just tiebreaker wise. However, if for some reason we both decide to go on an absolute tear to finish the season, we both win out the rest of the way, they would end up 1 game ahead of us. Right. That's bad. So I guess we can kind of get into what we got left here. And Nick, do you have any comments, I guess, before I start rattling off? Thanks.
No, well,
you can rattle off.
Yeah, no, I was aware that like kind of the Bulls schedule, but I didn't realize, like, when you brought up what Toronto was facing, and then of course I didn't realize the game in hand thing. It almost sounds like a poker term or something, but I think you nailed it, dude. So look at me. I learned something else today too. But yeah, I mean, we're sitting here like, oh God, we got Clippers who could get back Paul George. We need to see what the situation is here, but they're trying to solidify their 8 seed. So that, I'd imagine that, like you said, Tony, I think that's why he's inspired to maybe.
I'll be there Thursday night, loudly booing him because I think he is very overrated, but that's a whole different podcast. Continue. Yes.
And then, I agree. And then, then we got the Heat. The Trouble in Paradise Heat, right? They have some chemistry going on there. Still a very solid team. Obviously, we can't write off anyone at this point, Tony. We just can't, and that's just what it is. Okay. And not only can we not write off anyone, but we also we would be lucky. I'll say it right now. We'd be lucky to go 3-3. I think if we can go 3-3 in this, that would exceed like expectations, especially with how we're currently playing. So if you want to talk about the Raptors real quick, that's my thought. 3-3. Let's just do it. Call me Billy Donovan. Let's just do it.
Yeah, I truly expect like a true. This is me coming back to reality, just as a prank, as a joke for all those realists out there. Those that's the right word, realists. Losers. So pessimists, even I would say. I expect us to go probably 2-4 because I think. Because we're going to win, in my mind, we win 1 or 2 of Clippers, Hornets, Timberwolves. But it's going to be tough to beat the Heat, which, just tough game in general, Saturday night. But then Bucks, Celtics back-to-back. I know they're both at home, but we beat the Celtics this year. People like to, forget that we've technically beaten the top 3 team in the East or in the league, whatever, in the respective conferences. So we have beaten them, but they're playing unbelievable, unreal. So speaking of the team, Ed actually just beat them last night. Unfortunately, that we were recording on Tuesday, so 2 days ago. If you're watching Wednesday, the Raptors. I looked at their schedule real quick, just the first quick glance. The first team I saw was Magic because I was looking ahead to April. They have 1 game left in March against the Timberwolves. I forgot the Timberwolves are 10 games over 500.
Yeah,
Timberwolves
are good all of a sudden.
So that's going to suck for us too. When we play at the end of the year. We play 6 playoff teams. All 6 games are technically playoff teams right now.
Correct.
The Raptors play, I think 2 are not, being the Rockets. The Knicks are, they're right there with that 10-11, if I'm not mistaken. But I think they might be. I don't think they're going to get there because I think Atlanta is going to win a couple more games. So the Raptors have the Timberwolves, and my ESPN app is freaking out on me. I have a personal vendetta against ESPN. I don't think I'm using that word right anymore. Timberwolves, Magic, Heat, Hawks, Sixers, Rockets, Knicks. So obviously they have that little Heat, Hawks who are playing better, and they're really, they're trying to keep their spot in the playoffs. Sixers, that's a tough little stretch for them there. But I mean, Magic, Rockets, and probably the Knicks should be a win at the end of the season when the Knicks are officially eliminated. So we got to win games. That's just, Nick, you said it best. We got to win games. We got to do what we can to somehow beat these just titans of the NBA or the East right now. Sorry, I forgot which direction we played in. Yeah.
We do, man. And here's I'll leave you with this. The only other thing I have. It's again goes along with our theme here today. Super, super analytical. So just be prepared. But I think it'd be really cool if we beat the Bucks and just said whatever on the Celtics. Cause like at this point, well, okay, I'll put it this way. It'd be even cooler if we beat them both. But
yes,
let's
be sick if we went 6-0 to end the season. I think so.
Oh, that would be so. I didn't even think about that. That's a good one. But listen, man. I mean, because just thinking like for my personal right, this is all for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll feel like okay. I mean, the Celtics, hottest team in the league right now. I think even on both coasts. So whatever. But the Bucks, it's like. We've been embarrassed by them this year, and not like embarrassed like losing by 30 points, but every game we've played has
we did
either
lose by 30, I think, in the last game, right?
Yeah, you're right. But like every game we've played against them, they except for maybe one of them was already scheduled to be televised, but every other game we've played, they've bumped it into the TV spot, and then we've just lost. And it was at times too where we were like at the top of the conference and people were like, what's up with this Bulls? They're not for real. But then, us as Bulls fans are over here being like, no, we're for real. And then we just,
we promise. Yeah.
And then they win. I mean, the talking heads win, man. So let's not let them win. Let's just beat the Bucks. If anything, I'll take 1-5. No, this is just we're going off a deep end.
No, I like that. Like, Lovie Smith, why'd you
I want to beat the Bucks.
To beat the Packers, dude. We came here to beat the Bucks.
I want to beat the Bucks.
Yeah, it's my totally
and a win for you at the Clippers game. So let two. Okay, that's pretty reasonable.
That's what I expected. 2-4. There we go.
That's what you said. Yeah. Okay. Boom.
And then we'll probably grab one from the Hornets. So there we go. 3-3. There we go. That we just talked ourselves into 500 the rest of the season. Easy. We get that 5 seed. My last comment, it's about the Bucks because I hate them so much. And it's totally not an excuse, but here it goes. We are getting screwed on our back-to-backs. We have the 3 of the 4 times we will, because we're obviously going to still face the Bucks on a back-to-back coming up. That's not going to change, unfortunately, I don't think. 3 of the 4 times we will have played them, it will be involved in a back-to-back. The first 2 of the 3 that we played already were the second night of a back-to-back, which is always tough. That's just, actually, yeah, although we won tonight off a back-to-back, we barely did. And you can tell the guys were tired. Now it's going to be, and although it's at home, which is nice, it's going to be, like you said, we're basically going to have to pick which game we're going to try for. Otherwise, we're just, in my mind, we would probably lose both. I don't know. Again, it's very analytical here, but the Bucks only had one of those games against us. That was off a back-to-back. I say NBA rigged, schedule makers rigged or something. And I hate them. And they're all the devil. Don't forget that. Maybe I'll make a t-shirt with that. And that's my official Bulls takes for the episode. So Nick, unless you got anything else, I'll wrap it up here.
I want to leave them on that. I feel strongly right with you, my friend.
Yes. So go North Carolina because we hate Duke by the transitive property. That's why we hate Grayson Allen, who is a Buck. Yes. So if you're a Bulls fan, you're also a North Carolina fan this coming weekend. So with that will do it for this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Tony Cepeda. Thank you again to my co-host, Nick Barr. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Until next time, Bulls fans, keep seeing red.